They're trying to speed the flow of both cargo and people, they say, across this nation's northern and southern borders. Critics call the plan an outright attack on our sovereignty. Congress has been looking the other way. Christine Romans reports.
Plans for an integrated North American community by 2010, moving ahead swiftly and under the radar. Robert Pastor is an author of the Council on Foreign Relations document seen as the project's roadmap.
We need to deepen economic integration by moving towards a customs union with a common external tariff. I think we need to enhance our security by beefing up both our borders and beefing up a continental boundary.
But critics fear an attack on American sovereignty, a super NAFTA with borders erased between three very different countries with no public oversight. Texas Congressman Ron Paul is a rare voice of concern on Capitol Hill.
We're not supposed to give this to the executive branch devising quasi-type of treaties that the Congress seems to not have any control of, and then it turns out to be managed straight for big corporations and not to benefit to our workers and to our people.
The House International Relations Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee have not held hearings on this, and a high-level conference this month in Banff was closed to the press. Critics raise concerns about secrecy, but the plan has a website, SPP.gov, highlighting myths and facts. Without explaining how, it says the Canadian-Mexican-U.S. partnership does not attempt to modify our sovereignty or currency, nor undermines the U.S. Constitution, but would create jobs by reducing transaction costs and unnecessary burdens for U.S. companies. Robert Pastor says a more open public discussion would quiet what he calls conspiracy theorists.
A North American Union is impossible.
He says the goal is more cooperation.
Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government.
A brave new world, an Orwellian world, in which the will of the people is absolutely irrelevant. And I think we've had a sampling of what's going to happen.
We need to elevate the competitiveness of our economy.
And a new Canadian Prime Minister joining the discussions as this North American partnership barrels ahead, with departments and ministries of all three governments working quickly to integrate North America by 2010, and eventually moving to a single North American currency called the Amero. A Commerce Department spokesman, however, denies this, quote, "There is absolutely no plan for a common currency."
What they're doing is creating a brave new world, an Orwellian world, in which the will of the people is absolutely irrelevant. And I think we've had a sampling of what's going to happen to people who do that in the future. I can't imagine this standing. But then again, I couldn't imagine its beginning, nor the fact that it's gotten this far.
And Robert Pastor, Lou, he says you're one of those critics. You're part of a conspiracy theory that it just is not founded.
That I'm a conspiracy theorist? That's very flattering on the part of Mr. Pastor. What he is an out-of-control elitist who hasn't been elected or in any way nominated by this government to do a darn thing that he's doing. And the fact that this administration and some of this country's largest corporations are pushing ahead with this, with some of Canada's leading elites and Mexico's. There is not a single thing in this that even remotely has legitimacy. And the fact that this Congress, thank goodness that Virgil Good stepped up here, the fact that this Congress is not demanding an investigation into this right now is sickening. This is elitism run rampant. And it's just, to me, it's just inexplicable why it's being tolerated. Pastor, what's his qualification?
He's studied North America and its institutions for 30 years.
Ah, good. And this is his conclusion after all that study at the Council of Foreign Relations. This is elitism run rampant at the Council of Foreign Relations. To me, it's just inexplicable. Council of Foreign Relations.
Attack on American sovereignty.
To me, it's just inexplicable. This is elitism run rampant. What he is an out-of-control elitist who hasn't been elected or in any way nominated by this government to do a darn thing. To me, it's just inexplicable why it's being tolerated. Pastor, what's his qualification? There is not a single thing in this that even remotely has legitimacy. Council of Foreign Relations. To me, it's just inexplicable why it's being tolerated.
The official progress report boasting, quote, implementation is on track. And now, Mexico's new president, Felipe Calderón, widely expected to keep the progress moving. Critics, though, say there's too little transparency and no congressional oversight.
To go back to 2005, President Bush, Mexican President Vicente Fox, and then Canadian Prime Minister Paul Martin launched what's called the Security and Prosperity Partnership, a trade and economic partnership that many see as a precursor to a North American Union modeled after Europe.
There's hardly a major area of public policy where the Bush administration has not, through the SPP working groups, rewritten our administrative law and regulations from being U.S. in nature to being North American in nature.
The coalition to block the North American Union wants to defeat a proposed NAFTA superhighway that would stretch from Texas all the way to Canada. Congress has been left largely out of the loop.
They never even heard of this. They don't know a thing about it. What's going on? Well, what's going on is a super elite are taking control.
They seek to control and steer the destiny of humanity in a direction that secures their power monopoly forever. They are sadistic. They are callous. They think nothing of human life, only control and keeping that control. The entire world is being engineered, designed to be a prison planet, a control grid over free humanity, where no dissent is tolerated. Once you realize that the establishment is laughing at you, you can begin to research the truth and start fighting back. Once you understand their game plan, it's very easy to defeat. Knowing who your enemy is half the battle. Taking action is the other half. You only have to free your mind, and defeating the globalist will be easy.